Click. Hi guys. We should kiss. Mwah, mwah. Hi. Oh my god, y'all. Hi you guys. Hello. Hi. So before we get started, I'm going to yap. So I am going to get every bit of the logistics out of the way now. If you would like one-on-one coaching with yours truly or anything else that I may offer, www.loveassumptionprincess.com. And as always, be sure to read that disclaimer in full because it helps you out. It helps me out and it just makes everything easier for the both of us. Mwah, love you. Thank you. Hi, you guys. I love getting on here to record and talk to you guys. Like, it literally makes me genuinely so smiley and so excited because I just love this little community that I've built. And I love talking about the topic of the law. So with that being said, today's video is going to be a little bit of another off the dome ramble. Well, not really off the dome because I'm not gonna lie, I got this video idea. It popped into my head like a little bit earlier this week. And what I do is anytime I get something that I want to talk about and it comes into my consciousness, I write that down, like immediately. And I was actually in session, now that I'm thinking about it and I'm talking about it, I was in session with a client earlier last week and this topic came up. It was really cool. It was like, I love that. That's also my favorite. I've said that a million times before, but I love when I'm talking to y'all and I get video ideas from the circumstances that I'm presented with that people tell me about. And I say, oh shoot, that would be like a really good point to go in on the channel. So I wanted to talk about this. So if you guys are well versed with Neville, which I'm sure many of you are, like, hello, he talks about how it's not, I was like, what is in my shirt? It's the Summer Fridays. It's the Summer Fridays from Sephora. I forgot I put it there and anyway, it just caught me off guard. That's all. Like, I literally just forgot. Even though I just put it on my lips, I just forgot. Anyway, it's not what we're talking about. Y'all know that Neville talks about it's not really the thing, the manifestation or the materialization that you're seeking. It is the identity that you want to enter. It is the feeling that you want to have. And I just cannot like emphasize this enough. And this is exactly why, bruh, I feel like a parrot on this channel, but I don't care because why? Repetition is the father of all learning. But with that being said, this is why I always talk about validation being something that you have to give yourself. Like, we crave validation because we want that temporary fulfillment, right? We want that external fulfillment. And then what happens when that feeling fizzles away? We want that fulfillment again, and then we're looking out here to get it. But the thing about it, what Neville was saying is you have to seek that feeling from within. It has to go inwards, outwards, inwards, outwards, inwards, outwards. So in other words, it's not that you actually are seeking and waiting for the money to deem you a wealthy person. You are wanting to give yourself the permission to enter the feeling and the identity and the knowingness of being a wealthy person, of being a wealthy person. What does that mean? Taking up space as a wealthy person, existing in your mind as a wealthy person, existing in your body as a wealthy person. Okay, you guys, sorry, just a little bit of a lighting change, but we're back into it. Also, this is Onyx. You wanna say hi, Onyx? Say rare. Say I'm sparkly like mommy. Say I'm in pink like mommy. She's in a very lovey mood, so she's here. But like I was saying, it's not that you're waiting for the thing. You are not waiting for the thing. You are waiting for the feeling. You are waiting for the permission to be, to feel, to take up space, to identify as the person who has it. And like I was using the example of wealth, you're not even really waiting for the money in order to feel like the wealthiest, richest version of you. And I know that sounds like maybe to some people a little out there because it's like, girl, yes, I am. Like, that's why I'm manifesting it. And like I say to you guys time and time again, but The gag is that the manifestation is not something you have to force. It is literally a byproduct of the decisions that you're making and the assumptions that you are projecting. So this is why identity is so important. And I'm sure y'all have heard so many times, feeling is the secret. Feeling is the secret. I think that feeling is the secret and knowing is the secret can definitely be like two sides of the same coin, because of the fact that the knowingness invokes the feeling, and the feeling, it seeps into the identity. Y'all know I talk about identity all day long. I don't care. I will not shut up. But a lot of my manifestations came to fruition when I gave myself the permission right now in this present moment to exist as the person that had it. When I gave myself the right to be chosen, not when SP called, not when SP sent a text, not when all these other things transpired, but right now in this present moment, just because I'm me and just because my existence is enough. That is when SP called. That is when SP showed up at the doorstep. That is when SP drove 12 hours. Y'all know that's one of my favorite stories to tell y'all. That is when all of these things happen. That is when engagement happened. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all the story about how I went and got my ring eons before I met my fiance or before I even got engaged or anything like that. So I'm saying all of this to say it's not a bunch of gibberish. You get what I'm saying? A lot of these principles that people are telling you to put in place that sound like to your logical mind, they sound so maybe useless or arbitrary. They're really essential because they help you shape your identity. Your identity is a sheer projection of your assumptions. Okay. So, like, even with money, when I was manifesting specific amounts of money, I had to give myself the permission to feel like the woman who had the specific dollar amount now. And not even just that, I just assumed wealthiness was running through my veins. Wealthiness, I thought of it as a state of mind, because it genuinely is. It genuinely is. Wealthiness is not a dollar amount. It is a state of mind, and it is a state of being. Do not let anyone else tell you different. But with that being said, I had to jump into that identity and give myself that validation, that fulfillment, that feeling. And when I say feeling, it's not just boiled down to emotion. It's not about I have to hoodwink and hijack myself into being toxic positivity all the time, and I have to convince myself to have emotions that are always positive all the time. That is not the feeling that Neville is talking about. That is not the feeling that a lot of other law of assumption coaches and people in this community are talking about. The feeling is the knowingness. The feeling is the permission. Just like when you go to an amusement park and you pay your fare, you get a stamp or you get a wristband. And what does that signify? That signifies that you have an all-day pass to enter every single thing that you want to in this park. You can eat, you can ride, you can water slide, you can do all the things, right? But you got the permission. You got what you needed for entry. That is the thing that comes right along with this. You're not waiting for the manifestation to make you whole. And like, here's just the hard truth. This is the rock gut truth that I'm about to give y'all. A lot of times, if you don't change your identity, if you don't jump into your knowingness, what happens is you'll get your manifestation. I'm never going to instill a limiting belief onto you and say you're not going to get your manifestation. Never. You're going to get it. You're going to get it if you persist in your assumption. If you just continue to say, hey, it's done, it's here, it's mine, it's, all that jazz. But what happens is that you get the manifestation and you're expecting it to make you whole. You're expecting it to like change you into this different version of self, and you're expecting it to fulfill you and sustain you and give you drive and momentum and worth and happiness, and you're chosen and all these things. And then you're literally miserable just with the manifestation. And then you still have this negative lack-based state of being and shitty assumptions while you're experiencing what you want. So you have what you want, but your state of being hasn't changed. So you're still unhappy. You're still unhappy. And then what happens? You keep projecting negativity. You keep normalizing things that you don't like. And then eventually those things reflect. Those things reflect. And do I have to say the rest? And this is not me fear mongering. Please, this is not me fear mongering. I am all for limitlessness. I am all for limitlessness. I will never, like I just said, never tell you that you cannot manifest anything under any circumstances. However, what I'm trying to get everyone on the face of this earth to realize is that you are what give these things purpose. You are what gives these manifestations validity, a lease on life, in existence, period. You are the very thing, you are the vessel that they are actually taking life through. So I understand and I empathize with, I want this. But you have to understand that comes from feeling like you don't have it or you're not that person right now. You're craving it because you don't feel whole. You're craving love because you don't feel love. You're craving being chosen because you haven't decided that you're chosen right now. You haven't given yourself permission to feel chosen in this moment, regardless of what the circumstances look like, regardless of what your emotions feel like. You haven't given yourself the permission to feel chosen. Like, I'll use this for example. Do you feel like you know your first name and your last name? Do you feel like you know your first name and your last name? Or are you waiting for an external something or someone to confirm to you your first name or your last name? Like, do you have to go search for your birth certificate to get the proof and then decide, okay, now I am certain that I know my first name and my last name? Or do you just know your first name and your last name? Do you just know those things? Do you just know those to be true? You don't need to wait for something to confirm that, right? You just know those things. Okay. Do you feel like the sky is blue, the grass is green? Or do you have to look outside the window to confirm, oh yeah, the sky is still blue because I saw it with my own two eyes, guys. So now I know the sky is blue, guys. I saw it. Or do you just know? Do you just feel like you know? You know what I'm saying? Don't ever be at mercy of proof. External proof, waiting. Because once this transpires, then I'll just know. No, that's reverse engineered. You're wealthy now, babes. I don't know how else to tell you this, but you're wealthy now. You're chosen now. You're wanted now. You're whole now. You have that house now. You have that job now. You have that person now. You have all of the things you could ever want now. Grant yourself full permission to know that, be that, and stand in that. Big purr. Never the little one. That's all I got for y'all today. And don't think that I forgot about that Q&A video. That is coming soon, okay? And until next time, you guys know that I love you. 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 I love you.